with it.
Absolutely, I'm fired up.
Let's do that. First fight of the night. Here to tell us about it is Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Four Seasons Arena here on the State Fairgrounds in Great Falls, Montana, where tonight, Top Rank Incorporated and the undisputed, undefeated King of Beer, Budweiser, presents professional boxing for your entertainment. All the bouts tonight are sanctioned by the Montana Board of Athletics. And now let's get things started with a 10-round bout. This is in the light heavyweight division. The referee for this contest is Kevin McCarroll. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with silver trim. He weighs an even 178 pounds from Los Angeles, California. His professional record, 17 victories against 7 defeats and 2 draws, 8 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesus Monje Castaneda. And across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with black trim, weighing 176 1/2 pounds. He's from the South Bronx in New York City. His professional record, 26 victories with 19 KOs against 7 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, the former middleweight champion of the world, Iran, Blade Barkley.
Iran. Jesus, Iran, I expect a clean fight. Obey my commands and protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
So we are set to go as you take a look at Jesus Castaneda, and as Al Bernstein mentioned, the whole key for him is get through the first few rounds, stay away from the left hand of this man, Iran Barkley, and Barkley, of course, playing right into that scenario, says, I don't want to be out there too long.
He wants to get him out early, and you can be assured that Iran, in this small ring especially, Barry, will be cranking up those left hooks. Not to mention the rights to the body, as he just threw.
Should be pointed out, too, that even though Barkley did beat Hernandez, Hernandez had him down.
Yeah, and it was not a performance that was fantastic. Barkley said he was happy with it because it was his first fight back after the loss to Nigel Benn, in which he lost in 1 round in a wild affair.
And, of course, after that loss to Ben, good left hand by Castaneda. But Castaneda is fighting Barkley's fight early on here. After the loss to Nigel Benn, Barkley had a cataract operation in New York, so he has had more than a few problems in his boxing career.
Switched managers. He broke up his long-time relationship with John Reeds and moved up in weight, so a lot of changes for him.
So far in staying away from the left hand of Barkley, he's getting hit with the right, is Castaneda.
I mentioned Castaneda wanting to work the body. You can see evidence of that. He's gone downstairs early, but he used the uppercut there.
A little blood showing on the cheek of Castaneda, but I'm not sure if it's from Castaneda or Barkley.
We saw Castaneda against Indian Rudy Nix a couple of years ago, and he used the uppercut very well against him, so you can expect to see that punch against Barkley.
He just backed Barkley up a moment ago with a shot to the body.
This is a very good first round in which, though Castaneda is doing, as we said, fighting maybe Barkley's fight, took a right hand, he is doing fairly well. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, the former light heavyweight champion, Barkley's corner, yelled at him, keep the jab going, as I said earlier in the keys. That is important for Barkley.
Barkley has never been a guy that would be characterized as a stylish fighter. Wild swinger, can get you out of there, and that's what he brings.
You know, that's true, and yet he has had moments. Look at that jab. He has had moments in his career against Roberto Duran, a classic example, where he has shown such a high skill level. Makes you wonder why he doesn't do it every time. Nice combination there by Barkley. He's getting clocked a lot in this first round, but Barkley probably didn't enough to win this first round. Possibly, I think. Probably.
Close round. But the fight is really Barkley's fight so far.
In style, yes.
Good left hand by Barkley there, but Castaneda, to his credit, didn't step backward. Come to the end of the first round. Entertaining first round. We'll be back.
lot of combinations, and there was good evidence.
Another thing, too, that Castaneda did, even though he did fight Barkley's fight, is he made Barkley work a lot and throw a lot of punches in that first round. And it is his plan to take Barkley into the later rounds and hopefully wear him out a little bit.
Jesus, only a 22-year-old, and a classic example of a boxer maybe pushed early. His first bout in Mexico was a 10-rounder.
That's rough. That's
crazy. Boy, they are wailing away now, huh?
Barkley's scoring more effectively with the right than he is with the left hand.
And remember, it was the right that started Tommy Hearn down.
He's taken a lot from Barkley. Probably be well served to get himself out of where he is.
Bad positioning there. And again, we remind you this ring is very, very small. Not too many places to go. Castaneda withstood that, though, and he keeps punching back.
The scare card for Castaneda, though, is that he has been knocked out on numerous occasions. 4 times, to be exact.
There you go. Roll. Right there.
Knocked out by Troy Weaver, knocked out by Ruben Cortina. Battling Torres knocked him out. Ruben Cortina, in fact, knocked him out twice.
Better not fight him anymore.
That's right. I'd stay away from Ruben.
I'd make a heck of a boxing manager. Guy knocks you out twice.
Don't
fight him again. Both men really are working very well on the inside. Barkley getting more power in his shots. Look at now, there was a jab by Barkley that set up that right hand. When he remembers to jab, I think it makes him so much better.
Castaneda might have slowed a step here.
Some very heavy punches landed. Barkley threw some hellacious right hands early in the round.
Castaneda just sort of fell into the ropes just a moment ago. Triple left hand by Barkley. The right hand is the one that's really doing the damage, if in fact there is any damage being done.
Barkley having his way here in the second round. We would remind you, though, that Castaneda wants to get through these rounds. He feels like he may come on around the 4th or 5th round or later.
So we come to the end of the second round. That left hand did knock Castaneda backwards. Good round for Barkley.
A hook of Iran Barkley. There's a double version of it, and it landed.
And a big pep talk in the corner for Iran Barkley from Eddie Mustafa Muhammad. Using a phrase I have never heard outside of a golf course. You the man. I only hear that when people tee off on a golf course. I've never known why, but that's a fact.
Well, what? On the golf course?
On a golf course, yes. No matter where the drive goes. It goes in the rough. You the man.
There's Barkley. Punches in round 2. Barkley clearly with a big edge and landing a good percentage of his shots as well. Although 45% isn't that awful for Castaneda. Didn't you do the Eddie Mustafa Muhammad fight that never happened?
The invisible fight with Michael Spinks in Washington, D.C. We did that show in an empty arena with no fighters. They canceled the fight the day of the fight. When Eddie Mustafa Muhammad had a little disagreement with the boxing commission in Washington, D.C. and just said, that's it, I'm not fighting.
You and Sugar Ray Leonard perfected your song and dance.
Exactly. We did an hour of tap dance. And
that was good.
Favorite stories.
This inside boxing here, which we presume favors Barkley, but it also takes a lot of energy. And Castaneda feels the older Barkley, the guy that he believes is a little shot, whether he is or not is another question. He believes that this will take its toll on him.
Well, we'll see. I mean, if it is in fact the way Castaneda drew it up in his mind, then he's doing the right thing. He's making Barkley work, taking Barkley's best, theoretically.
And meanwhile, Iran certainly winning these rounds, but as you said, if it's part of the game plan, if it's good. If it's not, then it's just Barkley dominating.
We asked Barkley about Castaneda. He said, I looked at a tape of him. He said he's an arm puncher. He's a guy who tries to keep pressure on you.
A couple of good right hands hurt Barkley by Castaneda.
body
They
inside.
clash heads, and you see Barkley.
Told you what to say.
Barkley says he'd like a title shot by 1992. Try to stay busy, but he said, I'm not going to think past the business at hand tonight, and that's probably a good thing.
Well, some of the light heavyweights he's going to face will not have the speed that he faced as a middleweight. And as you can see, he's a big, tough guy. People like Frank Tate are light heavyweights now, and other people, so it's not under question.
Underneath, get him back. Underneath that ranch.
Barkley continuing to stalk him, although right now, Barkley does not have a lot of snap in his punches.
And Castaneda doing a very good job of blocking some of those shots to the body.
Well, again, a round that you have to feel that Barkley won, but Castaneda's still there, folks. What a reminder that baseball coming up, and what a weekend of baseball. Friday, the early game, Houston and Atlanta, just 3 games to go. The National League West title still up for grabs. It'll be the Astros and the Braves, that game in Atlanta, and you have the feeling that home field advantage, of course, gives the edge to the Braves because the Dodgers have to play at Candlestick Park. That'll be on at 10:30 Eastern time. Can Ramon Martinez beat the Giants? Hadn't done too well so far, has he? Meanwhile, in the corner of Iran, Barkley, and there's the brain trust, as we said, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad.
All right, good. This is what I'm saying. When I say underneath, all day long, right up here, okay? Back it. Okay. Let's go, let's go. Get out. Show what we made of. Keep that, underneath, good ahead. All right, let's go. Jab, baby.
So we start round number 4, and it's a safe assumption to say that, well, it's just what I was going to say. Isn't that amazing that Barkley has won the first 3 rounds?
We all think is one here on
tell
Top Rank Boxing. Yeah, Barkley has done certainly more than enough to win those early rounds, and I think as we look at the numbers, has looked sharper, there it is, than he did against Hernandez. And it's not that Castaneda is fighting that badly, it's just that Barkley has done well.
Let me ask you this, though. That's a lot of punches to throw in 3 rounds for a light heavyweight.
And that is what Castaneda wants him to do. We'll find out if Jesus is right in assuming that Barkley will burn out.
Combination by Castaneda.
Excellent right hand, and I'm going to tell you, that right hand hurt Iran Barkley. I assure you that one got his attention.
Castaneda has been able to back Barkley up, and that's a Barkley who still has his legs. So the question is, will they still be there as the rounds go on?
I think the key for Castaneda in this bout is that he's been able to land that right hand. I think the lead right is an excellent weapon for him. Even without the jab, I would try and sneak right hands in over the jab of Barkley. That's the punch that Roberto Duran used so effectively in their memorable championship match, which Duran won the middleweight championship from Barkley. About that, truthfully, I thought Barkley won, and I thought it was Barkley's best performance ever as a pro, even in losing. But one thing that Duran was able to do is get the sneak right hand in.
Castaneda continuing to do enough to keep Barkley off of him, but Barkley continues to throw a lot of punches.
There was that lead right just missing by Castaneda.
There was a left hand by Castaneda that got in. A half jab, half hook.
And Castaneda's starting to go to his jab now. And of course, when you back Iran Barkley up, he's not as effective. He's not the kind of guy that will do real well backing up. That's what Castaneda's trying to do to him now. Jesus is an arm puncher, especially when he's throwing punches to the head. And it's interesting, we were talking to his trainer today, and they were acknowledging that when he punches to the body, he gets more leverage. And that's true of a lot of boxers, like a man that Iran Barkley faced once before, Michael Nunn.
There's about 8 jabs thrown by Barkley.
He's excellent when he uses that jab, even when it doesn't always land. He helps set things up.
Coming to the end of the 4th round. In the 4th round, a little bit more even, and Castaneda finishing it with a bit of a flourish. We'll be back.
Does 2 things. One, the jab helps him in the right hand. When he can unload it, lands against Barkley, and he's pushing Barkley back, Barry, and that's a big point in his favor.
So we'll see if things start to turn here as we come to the 5th round. There hasn't been an appreciable slowdown in Iran Barkley so far. Although the end of the last round could be significant for Castaneda. In the 4th round, things evening out a little bit. Barkley throwing fewer punches, Castaneda a few more, but Castaneda's effectiveness is getting there.
He landed a better percentage, and Castaneda has been economical with his punches, but his percentage of landing has been fairly good. And now Jesus is starting to use his jab a lot more than he did earlier.
But now you got to start to look at the fact that this, of course, is a 10-round fight. And how many rounds can Castaneda afford to give away, if in fact he's given them all away?
And there's no law that says, even though it was close, that he won the last round on the scorecards. I gave it to him, but some judges may not.
And there is a little bit of a cut, I believe, the eyebrow of Castaneda. I thought I saw them working on it between rounds in his corner, and there is a little bit of blood on his face, and I think that's where it's coming from. I don't think it's anything that's a big problem right now. This is just a repair of the laces. The tape actually had come loose on Castaneda's glove. Got to check that eye out and see.
Nice move by Iran Barkley, a veteran. Goes right to work, jabbing to the body to get his hands down, then came with shots to the head. As soon as Castaneda came back after that break.
There is a little blood it's from the left eyebrow, above the left eye of Castaneda, and Barkley right there with a combination. And it is in a situation where it could become a problem for him. Right hand by Castaneda, a little short with the right hand.
Some question if Iran punches hard enough in the light heavyweight division. Now he's getting nailed and nailing Castaneda.
Both fighters got there. Castaneda got there with about 6, but Barkley's 1 was the biggest one.
And I say that because Castaneda not only wants to be a light heavyweight, he told us today, I want to move up to cruiserweight. Here's Iran, who has traditionally been a middleweight. A lot of middleweights have had success moving up. Bobby Ches did, certainly. I thought Frank Tate has been better as a light heavyweight than he did in his last period as a middleweight. So maybe Barkley can follow suit.
I think by the same token, Castaneda moving up to cruiserweight. Cruiserweight is a division where you talk about a title that's there for the taking. I think in the history of the division, there's only been 3 champions, and they've all been Sugar De Leon.
Yeah, it's just about. So amazing. There was that guy Holyfield, too.
That's right. I do remember him.
There you go.
Both fighters actually fairly effective in that round. And not a lot of power punches, a lot of arm punches. Let's see if we can see what the status of that cut is over the left eye and the eyebrow.
Mira, lo que tienes que hacer, te estás pegando abajo, pero no vuelves con nada, ¿eh? Tira la upper y la izquierda y la derecha. Tienes que tirar. Si no tiras, no vas a ganar, ¿eh? Si no tiras, no vas a ganar. Ya te falta 1, 2, 3 rounds.
Now you look like a champ. You can pop him, pop, triple a jab sometimes. What I say, underneath, there. Because his hand, his whole face is right there. Right there. Underneath. Right on the chin, on the point of the chin, underneath, and don't forget, on the ropes, go behind the elbow. Right there, the jab is looking good. And always on your toes, baby. You the man. You the man. You the man.
Stop this fight.
Stay out of the rough.
It's headed for the fifth tee, I think.
Opens up with a double left hand. There's Barkley.
About 1 million people that didn't see the 3rd round when we talked about that, and they're wondering what we're talking about. Golf references. But then week after week there are people that wonder that.
I'm telling you, it's true. You watch golf on ESPN, and they have microphones by the tee. And every time a guy hits a tee shot, there's somebody, it must be like Rock and Rollin, or one of those guys who used to be there with the signs, is at every tournament saying, you the man.
Glove repair. We had this a little earlier with Castaneda. He's about at that point in the bout, Barry, where he's going to have to try, and there is my scoring, which would indicate that. I have him down 4 rounds to 1, each a 1-point round. he's going to have to start exerting his influence in this bout. He lit it a little bit in the 4th round, if he can, that is. But, you know, he says Iran Barkley will burn out. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. And we see Barkley throwing good combinations here.
Or if it does happen, it doesn't mean that he won't too.
Yeah, good point.
And I think your point is well taken. The game plan may be great, but he still has to be able to execute it. And I'm not sure, watching Castaneda, that he does have that other gear right now. Barkley picked his punches up again.
Threw more, and even though his percentage was lower, landed more, so that's all that really counts.
Eddie Mustafa Muhammad wants Iran Barkley to come up from underneath.
And he wants more than one jab at a time. There's that counter right by Castaneda. When Barkley throws his left, he tends to leave it down. It's always been a little problem for him. And the people that can shoot that counter right over it have been effective against him. It's one of the things Nigel Benn used to knock him out, although, again, I think Iran Barkley, the victim of some bad officiating in that bout. I think Benn should have been disqualified for hitting when he was down.
Barkley doing all the work, and Castaneda not doing much. To Barkley's credit, he is still there, and he's still throwing a lot of punches. His legs don't show any rubberness at all.
He's working hard, throwing a good variety of punches also.
You're watching Iran Barkley in the red trunks and Jesus Castaneda in the black trunks. These are light heavyweights. Iran Barkley in only his 2nd fight since being knocked out by Nigel Benn in England. He says 1992, he'd like another shot at the title. Until then, he's going to stay busy. And right now, he's doing just that.
Good right hand. Probably the only discouraging aspect of his performance for Barkley is he wanted a knockout early, and he's landed some very big punches, and they haven't gotten Castaneda out of there. They haven't even made him stunned to the point where he looked like he would go down. There's a good example. Excellent right hand by Barkley that really did not have a big impact.
I have an idea that of the two, Castaneda is the more tired fighter right at the moment. End of 6 rounds. We'll be back.
The Iran Barkley right hand getting there. Castaneda missing with his, though. And of course, Castaneda trying to get that lead right hand in.
So Castaneda rapidly getting himself into a situation where he has to knock Iran Barkley out, and he has shown really no indication that he is able to do that.
Barry, you talked earlier about Barkley's number of punches. He's averaging about 100 punches per round, and for a light heavyweight, that's extraordinary. But you know what's funny? Really, after all, isn't he a middleweight who just happens to be fighting it? Like, he's used to throwing that many punches. Good jabs by Barkley.
Yeah, very effective jabs.
It's not as if you move up in weight and somebody tells you, oh, I'm a light heavyweight, now I have to decrease my number of punches. There you see. 582 punches thrown for Barkley. You can see when Castaneda throws the right hand that he does not get a lot of leverage into that punch.
Yeah, it's really pushed. And you can also see that his body shots are his best. He has more snap on the left hand of the body. Probably the only other punch.
He's done a fairly good job of blocking a lot of the Barkley body punches. And of course, Barkley's always been known as a great body puncher. In his bout with Duran, he threw some of the best body punches I've ever seen. And against Michael Nunn, also in the later part of that fight, had some body punches that got in the excellent. The Barkley jab has become a real important weapon in this round. Good defense by Barkley, not always known as his strong point.
Yeah, he's fighting a very good fight. You know, you really keep looking for signs that he's wearing down. He's not given any indication that he is. Representative effort for him so far.
certainly will make him feel better than his bout with Hernandez. And it's not that Castaneda hasn't done some things. He's landed close to 200 punches and has landed some good ones like that right hand, but Barkley's been able to accept them and not been hurt.
That was that right hand lead that you talked about. It got there twice, and it forces Barkley to get out of there in a hurry. That's the right hand again.
You can get that punch in, Castaneda. Boy, it's now there for him. It's just a question of how well he can throw it and how often.
And Iran Barkley going back to his corner, and I'm sure he's going back to his corner with the idea that he won yet another round in this fight. He's won just about all of them. Well, are you ready for some football, as they say? Where do they say that? Minnesota and Illinois, live 12:30 Eastern time. That's this Saturday. The Golden Gophers playing a very good Illinois team that really handled Houston 51-10. Shut down that shotgun, that offense, didn't it? Not the shotgun, but spread offense. Then there's Clemson and Georgia at 7:30 out of the Southeast Conference, between the hedges. And after that, Notre Dame and Stanford. Stanford coming off a good win. They beat Colorado last week for their first win of the year. And remember, they beat Notre Dame last year at Notre Dame. They have two excellent running backs. Notre Dame loaded as always, but Stanford, two good running backs. Glenn Milburn, one of the best in the country, even though he hasn't seen the ball too much this year. And touchdown Tommy Vardell. Why do I know that?
Because you know all things. Iran Barkley knows jabs, and there you see him using the jab effectively. We've harped on that, but boy, it has been effective for him.
So we go to the 8th round now, and it again appears that Castaneda is going to have to get Barkley out of there, and that's not likely to happen. Look at the jabs in this fight.
Well, there you see Barkley landing 42% of his jabs, not too bad, and throwing enough. You know, that's a pretty good number for a boxer like him. He's really showing that he wants to use that punch. There it set up a right hand for him.
Your card after 7 rounds, Barkley with what would be an insurmountable edge.
Yeah, if in fact that is the way the judges are seeing it, Castaneda would need a knockout to win. I would think he would. Or at least a couple of rounds in which there were knockdowns. But then I thought Barkley was in that situation against Roberto Duran. And after he knocked him down, all of a sudden, ended up being a fight in which Duran won.
Castaneda with 7 knockouts in his 25 fights.
Then Jesus Castaneda doesn't have quite the reputation Roberto Duran had at that time. No.
There's a left hand from Barkley. You made the point earlier, and you're absolutely right, that Barkley's really picking a lot of punches.
Yeah, he's not getting hit as much as you think in some cases he is.
That was a thumb in the eye, I believe. Castaneda shakes his head. He may be saying, I've had it. It was a thumb in the left eye, and he is cut above the left eye, remember.
And there's a lot of blood now coming from that cut. I think that thumb really exacerbated the cut.
Also made it worse.
That too. For you laymen out there. Good counterpunching off the ropes.
Castaneda fighting back to his credit.
Landing a good left hook and showing very much what we know to be true, that those are really arm punches he's throwing. They're not having a big impact on Iran Barkley.
He's still having trouble seeing. I will be surprised if this fight goes past the intermission of these rounds. And we're going to take into the corner now of Jesus Castaneda. The cut is very bad right now. And I don't know how far this is going to go.
It's okay, Doc. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Doc. Look at headbutt. Give him some water. Give him some water.
This may have come from a clash of heads here.
Show that good left hand.
Yeah, that's what bothered him, not a thumb as we originally thought.
Let's go.
Boy, I did not see that at all in quick when the action was live. But it's a clear indication. Great replay by our fellows in the truck. And, boy, that really bothered him and made the cut worse.
They have stopped the fight, as we suspected they might. And I'd say that's well stopped. I don't believe Castaneda had any chance to win this fight. And a cut is a pretty serious cut. And I don't believe it was stopped by the doctor. I think it was stopped by the fighter himself.
And, you know, the interesting thing is we look at Iran Barkley, who gets his win. Technically, if you want to look at that replay, and if the referee had seen the clash of heads, they could go to the scorecards, which would unquestionably favor Iran Barkley anyway. So either way you look at it, Iran Barkley the victor, and deservedly so. And not a bad performance by him.
Exactly. That's precisely what I was thinking. I mean, I think he did everything he would have wanted to do against Castaneda. Castaneda went in here with a game plan. There's no arguing that fact. Had a pretty good idea, but Barkley just didn't cooperate.
Barkley didn't get tired. He kept working very hard throughout this bout, and Barkley knew that Castaneda could not hurt him, and wasn't hurt. And the impressive thing is that Barkley threw 94 punches per round. That is quite a bit.
For a light heavyweight especially. He says he feels very comfortable at this weight. Certainly showed that tonight. Of course, now you have to wonder how it will be against an opponent that perhaps is a notch up from Jesus Castaneda.
And maybe more than anything has more power.
All right, let's make it official now with Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to an accidental headbutt, we have a severe laceration which has happened to Jesus Castaneda in the red corner. At this point, because we've completed more than half the rounds in the bout, we do go to the scorecards. We have a technical decision. Here is the official scoring. Lyle Brugman scores the bout 79-73 at the end of 8 rounds. At the end of 8 rounds, John Lefebvre has it 80-72. Bill Harrington scores it 80-72 for the winner in the blue corner, Iran the Blade Barkley.
Consistent scoring, and the winner is Iran Barkley, and he will fight on December 19th. We'll be back.